Coming to you from the Big Island of Hawaii, it's the Songs and Stories Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Aloha, this is Steve Roby backstage at the Kahilu Theatre with another podcast interview for Big Island Music Magazine and West Hawaii Today. My special guests today are the members of Kanekoa. Aloha, guys. Aloha. All right. So glad to have you here at the Kahilu Theatre. I guess this is your Kahilu Theatre debut?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. But not your Big Island debut?
No.
All right. You guys have played here a few times, right? Let's start out with kind of let's start out with an introduction. So I'll go from my left to my right here.
I'm Uncle Don Lopez. I play U-bass.
I'm Kalana Kanekoa, singer, rhythm ukulele player.
Vince Esquire, lead ukulele player.
Travis Rice, I'm playing cajon.
Let's do a brief overview of your 25-year career and how you've evolved over the years.
It's been a long, cruel ride. I don't know. You go ahead.
Well, we started out in coffee shops like a lot of bands do.
Open mics.
And
On Maui?
yeah, on Maui at a place called Sir Wilford's. And it was a coffee shop that me and Travis's girlfriend, who was his wife at the time, who was his girlfriend at the time, all of us used to go there. Well, me and Travis's others basically saw Vince down there, and they were friends with his parents, right? And so after some talking between our ladies, actually, and some coercing, we eventually made our way down to Sir Wilford's, ended up sitting in with Vince. Vince is about 12 years old at the time. Right?
Wow.
And so
really young.
Yeah, and from the beginning, we kind of already knew we were doing something different. Me and Trav had been playing different versions of trying to put music together for years before that. And then right when the three of us locked in, we kind of knew right from the beginning that we had something different, yeah. And just took it from there. Kind of not trying to, oops.
That wasn't us.
That wasn't us.
That was not the large drummer.
But definitely pushing the boundaries of the ukulele, taking it fully far and away from its traditional, boundary, and then opening it wide open. The uke's been open to jazz and blues and all these other styles for years. So for us, being able to open that up and then use all genres within our uke work.
And with the addition of the bass ukulele, which gives the band a really unique sound. Yeah. Is it a special brand, a special model?
It is a
Have you modified it?
It is a kala. It is unmodified. I'm not sure the model. They didn't tell me when they gave it to me to play. I've been playing a U-bass for quite a while, since around 2006, 2007. I was given a prototype, not a kala, but eventually what became the kala U-bass. So I started trying it and playing it, and I was just amazed at the sound.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing. And I just got this one now that all my other ones are fretless with the rubber strings, and this one is fretted with the steel strings, the steel wound strings, and has a whole unique sound and feel.
With a band that's been around for 25 years, is there one particular show that stands out in your career that it was like, that night was amazing, or?
Oh, man.
Yeesh. Yeah, there's a few of those. Yeah,
Digging back through the old hard drives.
The night that couple got arrested on the dance floor.
Which time? Which time are you talking about?
It always depends on, at least for me, it's sort of like what's the venue like? What's the sound like? What's the crowd like? How are we feeling that night? We definitely kind of go with that jam aesthetic. There are all these pieces to it, but we played at the Crystal Bay Club, Lake Tahoe, a few weeks ago, and as an example of the night, basically somebody who works there, maybe one of the managers can say, one of the GMs basically said they never, after one of the songs, the crowd erupted. They never heard of the crowd erupt like that.
It's never been that loud.
Never that loud. And I heard it. Kind of on stage, it's a different thing because then you have sound, everything kind of going on. But we felt it, and it's always kind of, at least for me, that's the reason why I'm playing. Is you get the crowd and reaction, then you get react off of it, and that was a huge, loud.
Oh, wonderful.
Which is pretty.
We'll try to reproduce that here tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the shows with Los Lobos were pretty memorable too.
Yeah, those were pretty.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is that there's a lot of them for a lot of different reasons. for a while we had what we called our standing ovation punch card. It was like we were trying to fill our punch card. It was like, you're kidding, another standing ovation? Thank you. You know, I mean, it's humbling.
Yeah.
You know, especially for this particular crowd, it's like, it's humbling, and it's really fun.
In the middle of the set kind of stuff.
Yeah, that you see that kind of reaction. People are being transported in a way that you don't normally see. I see people with their eyes closed and their hands raised, and you know, it's like, okay, we're in church, buddy. You know,
Electric church.
And
Yeah.
again, different crowds make different vibes. So we were
Yeah.
in the Marin County area where there's definitely people that know the dead. And so that's where at least Uncle Don, people, you get the twirlers and people that, look at Vinny and start
That's my
doing
old stomping
right,
grounds.
the
I
stuff
know
like Jerry
exactly
like
what you're
this,
talking-
right?
That in Berkeley. Yeah.
Yeah, so that crowd recognizes that
Yeah,
piece,
yeah.
but then we'll get crowds at different places that don't know that,
Yeah.
and we still just move them. So maybe they're not twirling and bowing to Vince or anything, but they're like, we move them, and you kind of,
Yeah.
which is pretty sweet too, actually,
Great.
when you can move a bunch of people that aren't really.
You
this
know,
is new
we've
for them.
had years of great shows, and then shows we all want to forget. and to tell you the truth, well, we're doing some of our best stuff right now, which is crazy. Like Travis was just talking about Crystal Bay Club. That was only a few weeks ago. Man, that was a wonderful show. So it's great to be this far along and still be pumping out shows. Still surprising ourselves. You know what I mean? And still pumping out shows that we're like, man, that was awesome. You know what I mean? The last show we played at a place called Maui Pro Arts in Maui. Small crowd, maybe 120 people. And after that show, we were all like, dang, that was a good one, guys. You know what I mean? Sometimes we'll look at each other and be like, hey, guys, that was a pretty good one. You know what I mean? But most of the time, we're just, that was great. It felt good.
Right.
But,
The name Kanekoa has some Big Island origins.
of course.
Tell me about that.
Of course. So Kanekoa was a chief and a general under Kalani Pu'u. And of course, I have family members on this island that could go real specifically and deep, so I won't go too in depth and mess up the genealogical lines. But Kanekoa and a guy named and a general named Kekuhau Pi'o were the two generals that taught Kamehameha the Great. And Kanekoa, from that point out, the whole family, since Kalani Pu'u's days, the family has lived in Waipio. And as we've come into annexation and into the modern day, the family slowly moved out to Honoka'a. So the Kanekoa family is from here many generations in Waipio Valley, Honoka'a.
That's where I live.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so,
There you go.
great.
Yeah.
I thought there was some history there.
Oh yeah. So every time I come, everybody's like, "Oh, so-and-so Kanekoa." One of the ladies at the hotel, so you're related to Jason? Of course I'm related to Jason. I don't know him, but I'm related to him.
Well, speaking of history, Vince has some history with the Allman Brothers Band.
Wow.
And recorded with Greg Allman.
Yes.
Two historic bands and legends. Tell me a little bit about that.
Amazing experience. Greg was probably one of the greatest mentors I've ever had in my life. We opened it. I was playing in a band with Don on Maui, and we opened a show for Greg at the Arts and Cultural Center. Mm-hmm. And we each kind of did a song, and it came to my turn and did my thing. And then after the show, I was invited by his road manager at the time to go back and meet him. So we exchanged pleasantries real quick. I had to leave because I was going to another gig, and we shook hands, traded information. I didn't think I was ever going to hear from him. Sure enough, I got a call like a month later, and that was the call to go to the Beacon Theater in New York. Yeah. So that was the first call I got. Went and did that, and then things stemmed from there. We did a southern tour with Greg. We did New Orleans and Dallas and Houston and Birmingham. And then subsequently from that was the recording for the Low Country Blues album that I went and did. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Great. Tell me about your show today at the Kahilu Theatre.
All originals? Mostly originals?
Yeah, mostly all originals.
Yeah, I think we're just going to do, normally we're known for doing covers and in our own way, but I think tonight we're going to focus primarily on original music. So,
Well, speaking of original music, tell me about the latest album, Songs from the Great Disruption. Mm-hmm. What's the title mean? And there's a few guest players on there.
yeah, I think Don came up with the title.
Yeah, well, actually, I guess early 2000s, I noticed that the internet and social media was fomenting a bunch of stuff, right? And people were getting disrupted. Friends, families. I saw it beginning a long time back. And then it got worse, and it got worse, and then COVID hit, and here we are. And it has been one giant disruption that has culminated in further disruption. And during that whole process, we wanted to just make music and make an album. And so, as we were talking about the title of the album, it's not songs of the Great Disruption. It's not about the Great Disruption. It's from. Those are songs that were inspired during, not because of, but because of music, because of positivity, because of life, rather than a lot of stuff was a lot of music at the time in the last 3 years has been gripey. We lost this. We want to get back to that. You got to be this way. You got to do. We're none of that. We're just talking about good things and things that matter to everybody, like having a good time, like dancing, like enjoying music,
live music,
like enjoying life, instead of running paranoid.
Part of the backstory on that, we were gonna do the album with Steve Berlin of Los Lobos. He's their keyboard player, sax player, but he's won more Grammy Awards for being a producer than he has an artist. And we kind of found that out, and we'd done some touring with him. So we were gonna do this, and he was to do it more traditional, where he was gonna come to Maui and do a little vacation for 2 weeks, and we were gonna bust it out, each day, go in there and kind of more that way of doing it. And then the world changed, and then I think that we didn't get together for a good month and a half because we were trying to, the world changed. Anyways, we started out with Steve just kind of doing a Zoom and, hey, let's play this song, kind of try this arrangement, whatever. He eventually turned us on to this software for our Pro Tools audio software, where he was able to get high quality, live real-time audio directly from our board. And so once we figured that out, we would sit with him in our studio and we'd have Zoom and talk to him, and we'd mute him, and then we'd play, and he could hear it high quality right there from his place in Vancouver, Washington. So then we kind of started, okay, this could work. Yeah. And I think we did one song, and this could work, and then basically there's the idea started coming around. We started realizing that here's Los Lobos, and he's not doing nothing. And then we've done shows with G Love before, and I think I reached out to him, and he wasn't doing nothing. So basically, next thing you know, we start recording this album remotely with G Love's in the East Coast. So we'd record and we'd send it to him. And I think he got on the call with Steve, and they did the same thing there. And then Jake Shimbacurl's on Oahu, so we sent our tracks to him, and then Vince and him had talked. And so the whole base of the whole album, except for I think John Cruz is on Maui, and Amy Hanai, Eric Gilliam's on Maui, Uncle George Kamoku's on Maui, and Uncle Jerry Valdrez is on Maui. Everybody else, though, we did this kind of remote. Amazing technically, and it was interesting that Steve kind of realized, he said this was a game changer for him, because he does a lot of production work, so that was kind of a cool about the title of how this all worked out. Plus it's just the idea that, like Don said, at the end of the day, the big artists, they're making all this money and famous from Grammys to everybody, nobody was doing anything. And when you got a bunch of musicians doing nothing,
coordinating was pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? So it ends up, you can either kind of go, do whatever be bad and dysfunctional and do something.
Inject this part too. Talk about a labor of love, bro. All these people were our friends and did this of their own time and their own volition and asked nothing for it, which was huge. And was so much aloha that we just were awesome about that. Because there were other people that were heroes of ours that we called, and then when money came up, and now they're not heroes of ours anymore.
Never meet your idols until sometimes.
So I was just like, wow, okay. But for a guy like Jake, who's at the top of the game right now, to be like, oh, of course, you just tell me when you got the time. You know what I mean? Was like, wow. And so it was just awesome having all those people giving that aloha freely of themselves for our album.
It's funny how things panned out, huh?
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So what are the band's plans going forward? Are you touring this year? Are you going to do any more recording?
Both.
Yeah, we're working on another album with Steve Berlin currently. Neither us or him have as much free time as we did, so the scheduling is a little harder, but we're working on that. We have a fall tour coming up that's West Coast and Alaska, and then next year we're doing the East Coast. We're doing the Kennedy Center and a bunch of other places. So, yeah, we got tours and recordings coming up. Yeah, we're staying busy.
So the album you're working on, is that planned for next year?
Yes, it'll be out next year.
Any working titles?
It is actually, we're redoing an older album of ours. We're redoing all the songs. We're kind of Taylor Swifting it.
So Taylor Swift.
So
somebody took it from us back in the day when we were
and now we're taking it back.
Young and trusting. So now we're doing our Taylor Swift. It's Return of something, maybe?
Return of the Coconut Sky.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was called Under the Coconut Sky. So we're doing a new version.
But we're doing the songs different, which is fun, because that's Steve.
It's Steve's
It's like, why do something
Under
the same?
the coconut sun?
Sun? Sky?
I'm just saying.
closed sky.
Under the pupule sky.
So that's basically what we're up to in the next
So
year. or
busy,
so.
busy, busy.
Yeah.
Nice. Where's the best place for fans, new fans and old, that can find your music on the internet? Is that the best place?
Kanekoa.live is our website. All of
Okay.
our music's there. Also, just look us up on YouTube. There's a ton of videos. Yeah.
In the early 2000s, we lucked out, and we had somebody working with us and helping us for a while. That in the time that he did do good work for us, he got us in Pandora and Spotify and all that stuff really early. So any of those engines you jump on, or any of those sites you jump on, or apps,
All
we're
of our
already
stuff's there,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're already
Nice,
there
nice.
because we got in on it early. You know,
They've got your CD as merch tonight. I see merch is coming back.
yes.
Yay.
Right on.
Yeah. Any plans for vinyl?
Yes.
Yes.
Vinyl's really like back ordered right now for
Yeah,
quite a
yeah,
while,
yeah,
but
yeah.
as soon as we can get it, that's
It's
it.
hard to get a master, a mastering engineer,
Right.
who isn't backed up to like a year and a half to master
To
vinyl.
master for vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake's has his album on vinyl.
Yeah.
2 record set. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, nice.
That's nice. Well, thank you, Kanekoa, for your time today. Really appreciate it. Have a good show tonight.
Thank you, man.
At
Thank
the
you,
Kahilu
brother.
Theater.
Mahalo.
And don't be strangers. Come back to the Big Island.
Oh,
Yes.
we know we will.
As soon as possible.
You know we will.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Well, thank you.
Light out of a life not living. Whiskey never tasted as good as it does today. Never carry the lightest load. Never carry the lightest load away.
Thanks for listening to the Songs and Stories podcast. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next week on Songs and Stories. Aloha.